Welcome to MILF Ministry podcast, where we explore self-love, healing, and intimacy. My name is Ayodele Vassal. I'm an attorney, a creative, and a MILF. You can join the discussion by following at MILF Ministry on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. Today's episode is dedicated to body image and the correlation between body image and your own personal pleasure. Before we dive into this topic, though, I have some exciting announcements. Merch is now available on our website. The website is milfministry.com. We have t-shirts and hoodies for sale. I'm so excited about this. Go on the website. You can order different colors. We have sizes from extra small to triple XL, and you can just go ahead and MILF it through these streets. The second exciting announcement is the podcast is available in iTunes. I don't know what makes me feel so official about being on iTunes, but it's just something that I think is kind of cool. I'm excited about it. It makes it seem more official, more legitimate. I don't know. Maybe I'm being extra, but I just feel like that was kind of cool. So those are the two exciting announcements. So back to the topic at hand. Body image. Body image, body image, body image. Well, as you know, the podcast is MILF Ministry. As I said before, we're dedicated to self-love, healing, and intimacy. Why does body image matter? For me, body image matters because once I really got comfortable in my skin, receiving pleasure and being able to focus on my pleasure became a lot easier. Why does that matter? It matters to me because when I started having sex with a new partner after I left my ex-husband, I was not having a happy ending. What's a happy ending? I wasn't having orgasms. And for anyone that knows me, I was just kind of like, no, we're not we're not about what's going on. Is my vagina broken? Like we need to, I was looking up courses to see if there was something wrong with me. I mean, I know I can be anal. I can exaggerate. For those that don't know, I'm a Scorpio. I'm type A. I'm the oldest of 5. I'm an overthinker. I'm all of these things. So I really was looking up courses on, how to climax spiritually, and how to open up your chakras, and just trying to figure out things that I could do to make sure that when I was having sex, that I also was having orgasms. Because I know as a woman, so much of it is mental, so much of it is internal. So I was just trying to make sure that I wasn't wasting my time and whoever I was having sex with time. Because no one, at least in my world, I don't have time to be out here having sex and not having a happy ending. I know other people view sex differently, but for me, it's just kind of like, if we're going to do it, then we should be doing it and having fun. And we both should be having a happy ending, meaning me, the woman, and him, the man. We both should be having a happy ending. So going back to body image, I remember, if it's your first time listening, you can go back to my very first episode for context. But in my first episode, I talk about how terrifying it was to have sex with someone for the first time, like a brand new partner. I was terrified to get naked. I was terrified to do the actual act of sex, and I was really in my head. And a lot of that had to do with just my comfort level in my own skin. So tackling body image became something that was important to me after that encounter. And I think of, the practical things women do, oh, well, let me lose weight, or let me make sure that I wax or shave, or these are kind of superficial things that you can do to say, oh, well, I lost weight, so I feel a little slimmer, I feel a little sexy. But none of those things really tackle your internal issues. So, like, if you're not happy with yourself, your stomach will never be flat enough. Your booty will never be round enough. There'll always be something about you that you're trying to work on. And when I'm talking about body image, I'm really talking about mirror work. I have a sister friend of mine that has a really awesome Instagram page called Mirror Magic. You should check that out when you get a chance. At Mirror Magic, you can follow them on Instagram. But it's really about looking at yourself as is. Okay, this is health issues aside, looking at yourself as is and saying, I love myself, from your eyes to your nose to your hair to the things that society, I know at least in my mind, make you as a woman and as a mother self-conscious about. So we can talk about two main things that I know most mothers that we will share this in common: stretch marks and your breast, right? Your breasts do not sit at the same level after you've breastfed, or even if you don't breastfeed. And stretch marks on your stomach, the front of your stomach. Like, if you ever want to wear a bikini again or anything like that, like, they're stretch marks for 75% of women. So what does that do to your body image and your self-confidence when you open up a magazine, even plus size magazines, right? You open up a magazine and there's no visual representation. You look on television, you look in magazines, there's no visual representation of women with stretch marks. What does that do to you as a woman? Well, it makes you feel like there's something wrong with you. It makes you feel like you're an outsider. Anytime you see someone make a post about a sexy woman, about an attractive woman, you never really see anything about the stretch marks. And when I say ever really, I mean in magazines, in television, in film. I'm not talking about in real life, because I know for the fellas that the men that actually do listen to my podcast and do happen to love their MILFs, the MILFs in their lives, stretch marks do not bother you at all. You're real men attracted to real bodies. And I, for one, love you for that, because yes, women, we need that reassurance. But this episode is dedicated to us feeling comfortable in our skin. So let's backtrack and get back to the point. So we're talking about what it feels like as a woman to look out into the world. You see celebrity women have kids, they pop back out on the scene, their stomachs are flat, there's not a stretch mark in sight. Even if they have twins. 6-pack, flat stomach, smooth skin, not a wrinkle, stretch mark in sight. Once again, you look in a magazine, whether it's a regular quote unquote size model or a plus size model, no stretch marks in sight. Boobs are perky. And so I know for me, because I cannot speak for every woman, but I know for me, it just left me feeling extremely self-conscious. And so for women who are still MILFs, but you're with your partner, you're with the same partner that you were with before you had the baby. So like with me, what I mean by that is, after I had my daughter, I was still with my ex-husband. So when it was time for me to have sex again, my ex-husband and I, that's who I went to have sex with. It's a little bit different, because even though you may not feel comfortable in your skin, usually there's a bond there, there's a relationship there, there's a friendship there that makes being naked and being vulnerable and being intimate with that person a little less intimidating. I know many of my sisters who have gone through having a baby or gaining weight, losing weight, something like that, where you have drastic body changes, but you're with the same partner. You still have some body image issues, but it's just a little bit different because the friendship is there. But for my sisters who also have my new experience, which is your body has changed and the man that you're going to be intimate with was not a part of the change. It is extremely, extremely terrifying to just be vulnerable and naked, especially if you have not done the body image work. So it's a lot easier for me now because number one, I've had sex with more than one man since I've left my ex-husband. So that's first and foremost. And number two, I've just been working on myself and my body image issues. And I had specific goals in mind. So my goal was to be able to have sex with a man, with or without love, and be able to orgasm. Like, I was very focused on making sure that I could be pleased outside of a traditional, like, oh, this is going to be my boyfriend or this is going to be my husband. I wanted to make sure that if I just wanted to have sex because I needed the physical release, that I could do that and be okay and be like, all right, I'll see you next week. Not where you at or what you doing or you're mine now. No, not any of that. Just like for the physical act of it and for the intimacy and for the pleasure and for the connection, for just the actual experience of sex. That was my personal goal. So for me, I had to do a lot of work on getting comfortable in my skin because I wasn't looking for the man I was having sex with to reassure me in that way. A lot of times when you're in a relationship where you have a boyfriend or you have a fiance or you have a husband, it's a very codependent situation where you know that this person loves you, good, bad, or ugly. So even if you are struggling with your weight or you're struggling with your physical appearance or your stretch marks or your boobs or whatever, like whatever you're struggling with, because you have this bond with this person and this close relationship with this person, at least in my opinion, the act of being physically naked and the physical act of sex to me is not so scary because of the nature of the relationship that you have. For me, it was very scary to basically be intimate with people that were really just my friends, like people that I knew, but we were never sexual, because I was married for so long. So it's like we never really had any kind of intimacy, any kind of bond, any kind of connection where they had to be like, oh, no, Ayo, you're beautiful. Like, they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to reassure me like, oh, your skin is so soft and, I love you as you are. And like, nobody had to do that shit. So because I knew nobody had to do that shit, I was just kind of like, oh boy, like, okay, so I really got to be naked? I mean, you don't really have to be naked, but you get what I'm saying? Like, the thought of someone seeing my stomach and my stretch marks, or the thought of me taking off my bra and my boobs falling down and slapping them in the face, because it's like, oh, I didn't expect them to fall like that. Well, yeah, they do fall. Those type of things was like, ooh. Or, I'm going to be graphic because this is MILF Ministry. Like, just the sound of my thighs slapping, I was just like, ooh, this is a lot. Like, oh, I got a lot of meat on my legs and my thighs are slapping. Or, because I'm me and I'm overthinking, like, okay, so I'm bent over and he might be trying to hit it from the back. And I'm just like, oh, but my stomach, because I'm a mom and like my stomach, my pouch. All of these things make me laugh now because I now know that when a man is swimming in your vagina, he's not concerned about your stretch marks or your stomach. Like all this stuff that you're worried about, he's not thinking about that. He's focused on the pleasure of, swimming in your vagina, right? So basically what I started to realize was that I was cheating myself out of a pleasurable experience because I'm worried about all these things. Like, oh, from this angle, ooh, my stomach is hanging over the side, or oh, my breasts are hanging this way, or ooh, he can see my stretch marks if I take off this, all this stuff I'm thinking about. And it's like, my partner's like, you don't look like you're enjoying this. And I'm here for you to enjoy this. Like, you are in your own head, you're in your own way. So if you've heard, my first episode, some of this sounds familiar. So let's go back to the body image. What is what does all of this do? Well, as a woman, if you were thinking about your stretch marks, if you're thinking about your breast, if you're thinking about how you looked, guess what you're not thinking about? You're not thinking about your own pleasure. So, if you're not thinking about your own pleasure, you're not focused on what actually feels good. Dare I say, you may not even be able to enjoy, you know what I'm saying, what's feeling good. And worst, you may not be able to climax, which is what was happening with me. So I was getting frustrated, but I soon realized that the frustration was with myself. It wasn't with anybody else. Because, like, you can't be mad at your partner, especially the partners that I had, because I was kind of blessed. I mean, I had men in my life that understood what I was going through, that respected me enough to not really take advantage of my emotions or anything like that. And, you know, they were really concerned about me having an orgasm just as much as I was concerned about having an orgasm. So it's not a situation where I could be like, oh, he didn't care. He didn't, you know, that's why I wasn't climaxing. It was a situation where it was pretty clear that I was the reason why I wasn't climaxing. So let's go back. Let's go back to the basics. Let's start with stretch marks. So my mom and I had a conversation, because those that follow me on Facebook and Instagram, you'll see that I read my poetry, and I'll tell you how that, you know, we'll talk about the emotions that the poetry will invoke out of me, and we'll have these discussions based around either a dream that I had or a situation that I went through or whatever. But long story short, there was a picture that I didn't want to post because I wasn't confident in how I looked. And this was January of 2018. And my mom was just like, you know, you're a woman. You have to own your body. It's your body. You have to love your body. You have to own it. You have to love it. And people are going to be drawn to your energy, your smile, who you are. And if a man does not like stretch marks, or does not like a belly, or, you know, wants a six pack or whatever, you're not going to be his top choice anyway, because you have to use your common sense. Like, if a man wants someone that looks like a skinny 18-year-old, you know what I mean? Like, boy, no offense to any skinny woman, but you get what I'm saying? Like, if that's what a man's attracted to, he's not going to look at you because you don't look like that. You're curvy. You know what I'm saying? You're curvy. So that's number one. And she was just like, you have to understand that there will be men that are attracted to you because you look like a real woman that has had a child. And there are men that are attracted to that. So you have to get comfortable with yourself, right? And once you get comfortable with yourself, the energy of who comes around and the energy of what you're able to receive will shift. And what she did for me in that moment was very powerful, because there did come a time when men would, you know, come and compliment me and stuff like that. And I was able to receive it in a different way, because I was understanding what my mother was trying to explain to me, that, you know, they're going to be drawn to your spirit. And there may be men that look at your body and say, oh, I like women with curves. I'm here for all of that. Stretch marks don't turn me off. They don't bother me. Like, I don't mind if a woman has stretch marks, or it's like, it's natural. You have a natural body, and it's like, it's not pity. I feel like sometimes as a woman, at least for me, because I don't want to speak for all women, you feel less than, you know, you feel like because you don't look like whatever is in a magazine, that a man is settling to be in your presence. And once again, I had to do a lot of work to get to where I am now, because a lot of my thoughts were not healthy, right? They just weren't healthy thoughts. And so one specific issue, I was like, okay, it's affecting my sex life and my orgasms, but even deeper, it was just affecting my happiness, period. because being a mother is a gift, you know? So I literally remember having like stomach envy. Like if I saw a mother that had a flat stomach after having children, like being envious, or didn't have stretch marks, being envious, or seeing someone that didn't have children, period, and being envious, like, oh my gosh, look at her stomach, it's so flat, it's so smooth. And what life will do is kind of humble you, because there are women who are envious of you because you're a mother to a healthy child, to a smart child, to a beautiful child. And they wouldn't give a fuck about having stretch marks to have a healthy child. And so you kind of have to sit back and say, what am I really worried about? Like, I have stretch marks on my stomach because I was pregnant. And now I have this beautiful, healthy child to show for it. Like, this is what happens. You get pregnant, your body gets bigger, you grow at a certain pace, you get stretch marks. And you also have to take a step back and think about the women that go through this and they don't even have the children to show for it. Like, we have to take a minute and acknowledge those women, right? So you're sitting around here worrying about your body, because like I said, life has a way of humbling you. So you're sitting around here worrying about your body and this and that, and you don't have a flat stomach and you don't have this, and you're missing the bigger picture, which is you have your health and you have a beautiful child to show for it. So what are you going to do about this life? If you care about orgasms and you care about happy endings, let's focus on that and let's do the work to get to that. And so going back to my mother's point was, you're a mom. This is what your body looks like. You have to get comfortable with it. Once you get comfortable with it, you'll start to attract partners that are also comfortable with it, that find you beautiful. Your body will be a plus. They'll be attracted to your spirit, your intelligence, your ambition. Your body is just a plus of all of that at the end of the day. Because you're so much more than your body, right? And so that started a process of me just really, sitting down and getting comfortable in my skin. So one of the first things I did, which I never thought I'd do, which was challenged by my daughter and one of my girlfriends that lives out here in LA. For her 30th birthday, she posted some fabulous birthday pictures. This was back in 2017. And my daughter said to me, she was like, Mom, she looks fabulous. Your swimsuit does not look like this. And if you want to go on a date, you need to get some new swimsuits. And I was just like, oh my gosh, my child, good Lord. But you know what? You're right, though. I do need some new swimsuits. So I took my little self and went shopping and got some swimsuits. And I did what I never thought I would ever do after becoming a mother. I put on the swimsuit, AKA I put on a bikini, went to the beach, and took pictures and then posted the pictures. I was terrified to do this because why? I have stretch marks. But I posted the pictures and I survived it. Life goes on, life moves on. And I continue to do things like that to just put myself out there. And it wasn't like, oh, look at me, I'm so sexy. It was more so like my mom said, this is my body. And I just have to be comfortable with it. So if I'm at the beach with my daughter and I want to take a picture, take a picture. Do you suck it in? Do you tell your daddy to make sure you look like Beyonce? Yes. Do you tell your daughter to make sure you look like Beyonce? Yes. Or your girlfriend or whoever's taking the picture? Yes. Do what you got to do, boo, to feel good. But at the same time, like, we're not photoshopping, inches off our stomach and photoshopping the stretch marks off the picture. We're not going to do all of that because we are real women with real bodies. But that was one of the first things I did. Hopped in a little bikini and took a picture. So I'm not saying that is going to solve all of your issues, right? To get in a bikini or get naked or do what I did. to work on myself. But that's just an example of something that I did. And I just really, when I'm home, I walk around naked anyway. So I was comfortable being naked and kind of comfortable in my own skin. It was just other people seeing me naked. That was the issue. So that's why posting the picture in the bikini was a big deal and helpful for me. So for the women that are listening now, whatever you can do to get comfortable in your own body and your own skin, you start there. So once again, we were talking about a page that I love, which is at Mirror Magic. They have exercises and affirmations that you can do and use that are specific for this specific purpose of you falling in love with yourself so that you can attract the type of energy you want. Whether it's you just working on yourself for yourself, because we start with self-love, or whether it's you want to attract a different type of partner, But that's what that page is dedicated to. And I encourage a lot of, all of my female listeners to go there and just check it out and get some specific techniques on how she uses the mirror to create the magic of self-love. Because that's where it all starts. So like I said, everybody ain't going to do what I do, which is put on a bikini and just post a picture, right? And that's not going to be everyone's, one size fit all way to solve the issue. Another thing that I did do was just start to do affirmations for my own spirit, right? So I did affirmations about my self-worth, what I felt like I deserved, and focusing on my spirit. Because once again, as my mother said, someone will be attracted to your spirit. Someone will be attracted to your spirit. Your body's just the bonus. So I just started to do affirmations from YouTube. You can just Google affirmations. I may post some underneath the podcast when I upload the episode. We'll see. We'll do some feedback because I'm going to do a live later, which I'll talk about at the end of this episode, going live and including the audience and getting some feedback, because I really do want to hear some of your stories as well about what you did to overcome your body issues. So we talked about me just looking in the mirror, literally physically looking in the mirror and starting to love myself. And we talked about me doing external things like publicly posting parts of my body that I wasn't comfortable with. And once again, it wasn't for people to be like, oh my God, Ayo, you were so sexy. It was more about being vulnerable to say, this is who I am. And what you see is what you're going to get. Like, I'm a woman, I'm a mom, I have stretch marks. So you might as well go, I'm not hiding it. You might as well go ahead and see it. Like, come on and take a look. Like, this is me. In case anybody is looking. So that's the biggest thing for me, like I said, was my stomach and stretch marks. And then the second thing was my breasts. Like, I have sizable breasts, and like I said, take off the bra, like the Erykah Badu song says, they're gonna hang a little lower when you take the bra off. And for me, the joke now is, I joke with my friends, I'm like, well, if he gets slapped in the face, he just gets slapped in the face. Like, that's how it is. If you want me on top, you're gonna get slapped in the face. I have a lot of boobs, they're gonna be flying all over the place. And you just got to deal with it. Like, you knew what it was when you came over here, because that's what's happening over here. Okay? But once again, that was for me getting comfortable in my own skin. Because like my mom said, if a man does not want to be slapped in the face, he's going to find a woman with different sized breasts. So, like, you get what you get when you come over here. Once again, if a man does not like a woman that has a stomach, going to a MILF, it may not be your first choice, because she, in the category of MILF means she's a mom. And some moms may have a little bit of a pouch, We got a lot of other stuff as well, but we might have a little bit of a pouch. You deal with that. You love that. You kiss that. You rub on that as you rub other things. Another thing that I had to get comfortable with was like body hair. So like most women have body hair, underarm, pubic hair. Some of us even have facial hair, chin hair, mustache, all kind of stuff that you have to like figure out what you're going to do. Are you going to pluck? Are you going to wax? Are you going to leave it there? Are you going to laser? That's a personal choice. You know, I'm not here to tell anybody what they should or should not do. The purpose of this episode is, once again, your body image and you being comfortable with who you are and what you have, and attracting someone that understands that you're comfortable in your skin. Because I feel like something very powerful happens when you get comfortable. So for me, the most powerful thing that happened when I got comfortable in my skin was I decided to focus on my own pleasure. Because like I said, this episode is really tied to body image and your pleasure, aka me getting to my orgasm. This is a very simple episode. This is not body image related to like healthy weight loss, body image related to your spirituality, nothing like that. For me, this episode was body image connected to how could I get comfortable in my skin so that I could make sure that I'm having orgasms when I have sex. Right? This episode is very, very simple, very, very basic. So one of the last things I decided to do, which to me was a very simple ritual, was do some honey work. What do I mean by that? You can pour honey on your tongue to kind of sweeten the words that come out of your mouth. You can pour honey on your skin to just give yourself some different energy when you are about to interact with your mate, or even just go out. It could be just to go out on a date. It could be to go out for a singles mixer. It could be to hang out with your girlfriends. It could be for whatever reason. Pouring honey on yourself is literally about being sweet to yourself. In some of my other episodes, I talk about transitioning from mom mode to MILF mode, using crystals, using bath, using incense, using honey. So you can check out that episode for more details on what I mean by honey work. But for me, getting comfortable in my skin was also just about being more gentle with not only my spirit, but my physical body. So soaking in my bath, soaking with my salt baths, giving myself sugar scrubs, and literally pouring honey all over myself before I was intimate helped me to relax and helped me to focus on myself. And I when you do all that, when you soak and you give yourself a brown sugar scrub and you pour honey on your skin, you feel different. Your skin is real soft and smooth, and you just walk a little bit different. You feel a little bit different. You glide differently. And I think just feeling softer as a woman is good for your body image. And like I said, for me, it helped me to relax. So one of the things that we're going to do with this episode, which is a little different, is we're going to turn it over to the live audience. And I have some special guests that I want to include because they're also mothers who have gone through similar issues. And I think it's helpful to just not only hear my story, but to hear other stories. So I'm trying to figure out a way to incorporate them. I look forward to hearing the audience feedback and some special guest feedback on what they did to get comfortable in their own skin. So I want to switch to what happened when I finally did get comfortable in my skin. So once I did get comfortable in my skin, right? And like I said, in other episodes, I talk about what you can do to transition from mom to MILF mode. I talked about some of the affirmations and the poetry and the music and all these things that helped me to actually get there. But once I got there, what I noticed was I became more confident in articulating my needs. Because now I'm not worried about my stretch marks or my breasts or anything. I'm focused on my pleasure. And what that meant was I could state what I needed very clearly. and I felt more sexual freedom because I wasn't worried about what my partner thought of my body, right? I was more worried about, is my partner focused on pleasing me? So it's like the type of partner that I attracted changed. And my sexual interaction changed because my energy went from, am I sexy to you? Am I pleasing you? It shifted from a am I to this is what I need, right? Like, because now we're focused on Ayodele and her pleasure. This is what she needs to be pleased. Can you deliver that, right? And I was only able to get there because I was confident in my body. I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't worried about how I looked or felt to any man. I was really focused on, okay, you've come this way and you're approaching me because you're interested in me sexually. Here's what I like. Here's what I need. Do you think you can satisfy me? Right? So the conversation totally switched because my energy shifted. And the orgasm started to come because I was able to articulate what I needed and literally explain and command what I needed. And when I say command, it's not about being dominant. It's more about, okay, this is how I like to be licked. Come here, let me show you how I like to be licked. So I could lick him and say, this is the motion that I like, like this is what I like. This is how I like to be touched. This is where I like to be touched. Right? So as a woman, because I'm no longer focused on, oh my gosh, my stomach, oh my gosh, my breasts, oh my gosh, my stretch marks, and I'm only focused on my pleasure, my sex life changed 10,000%. Because now, in my interactions, all I'm focused on is my pleasure. I mean, I want him to feel good as well. But, I'm focused on my pleasure, my happy ending. And it just, I don't know a good way to explain it. Cause like, I don't want to sit here and lie to you all and say like every time I had sex after that it was just amazing and awesome. No, that was not the case. But what it did was I was able to accomplish my goal. So like if I had a partner that had enough stamina, like sexual stamina to satisfy me, I was going to have an orgasm because I could tell you exactly what to do to please me. And it had nothing to do with love. It was me knowing my body and feeling comfortable in my skin and saying, oh no, let's try this position. Oh no, I need you to lick me this way. Oh no, let's try this angle. And I was able to just kind of be like, okay, this is what I need. Like, this is what I need to get there. Right? And then it also allowed me, because I had some encounters that were not the best, but it also allowed me to be like, okay, well, you know what? This is not really working. And I knew it wasn't really working. Like, we don't have to fight it. We don't have to fake it. We don't have to force it. Like, I know what I need to get there. And based on what we're doing right now, I don't think I'm going to get there. So, like, no hard feelings, because I'm a grown woman, you're a grown man. Like, no one has to be mean or negative or laugh or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, to hurt someone's feelings. But it's like, you know what? I don't think we're going to make it, because another thing I talk to my girlfriends about is I don't fake orgasms. It does me no good. It does my partner no good. Like, what are we doing? Like, I want real orgasms and I want you to know how to get me there. So yeah, I don't fake orgasms. So because of that, like I said, I would just be like, okay, this is not working, or I don't anticipate it getting there. I think at the end of the day, if all you get from this episode is that letting go can lead to your big O, like I've already won. You know what I mean? Because what I want is for my sisters, my fellow MILFs, to understand that so much of what we do in terms of the pressure that we apply on ourselves, in terms of how we should look and be, to feel sexy, so much of that has nothing to do with your actual pleasure. And so if you can get out of your own way, right, like push societal standards aside, get out of your own way and get comfortable in your own skin, because who you are is beautiful. The body you have is the body you have, right? That's the body you have. That's the body you have. So with the body you have, how can we get to the happy ending, right? How can we get to the happy ending? I'm saying that what I found that worked for me was getting to my happy ending was really based on me letting go of so much, right? Letting go of my self-consciousness about my stretch marks, my self-consciousness about my breasts, my self-consciousness about body hair, like all these things, like letting go of all my issues and deciding that like my body is my body. So wherever hair sprouts up, if I want to shave, wax, or whatever, once again, that's your personal choice to do or to not to do that, right? I've made my own choices of what I do. And it doesn't matter what I do because, like I said, that's my personal choice. But I have decided how I want to handle that. But things that are like, what are you going to do about stretch marks? You're going to put on makeup? You're going to go get laser surgery? Like the average MILF is not going to do that. You're trying to take care of yourself and your children. Like you don't have money in the budget to go do all that stuff. So your body is your body. You have to get comfortable in your skin. Once you get comfortable in your skin, the energy shifts from, am I beautiful to him to I'm beautiful to myself, right? I think I'm sexy. Myself, I think I'm sexy. And if you're going to come my way, like if you're interested in being my sexual partner, this is what I need to be pleased. Right? So the conversation is a totally different conversation. It's a totally different interaction because you are demanding what you need to be satisfied. And what you will find is once you know what you need to be satisfied, the universe will start to send you people that can satisfy you. And based on my chuckle, I know from experience that the universe can come through for you. That's all I'll say on that. So once again, I'll repeat it. Once you know what you need to be satisfied, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what the universe will send your way. Because I'm telling you, whatever it is that you need to get off, there is a partner out there that loves to do that and will be ready to get you off. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I promise you. I don't care what it is you need, sis. Whatever you like, whatever you need, is somebody out there that loves to do that. Been waiting to do that. Okay? And when you get out of your own way, hopefully you cross paths with that person. And hopefully you'll be able to identify that person, Because life is not a movie. You know what I'm saying? Your first sexual encounter may not be what you want or what you think. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully, as a mom, as a MILF, you have a good enough gauge to be able to tell if someone is committed to your pleasure. like I said, I think I've been kind of blessed in that pretty much all of my sexual encounters after my ex-husband, I got to give the men credit. They were trying to make sure that I was okay. Even if I didn't get there, there was a genuine concern of like, are you good? What do you need me to do? Type thing. And I just think it's because I have some great guys around. That was kind of something that I already knew that I wanted and needed. Like I was just kind of like, ooh, like this matters to me. And not everybody, because I mean, there is one partner that I can think of that got canceled because of that. Like I remember having to say like, well, I didn't reach my happy ending. And I remember there not being a concern. And I was just like, nah, bruh, like you got to get it together because I'm not done. And they had to get it together so that I could be done. And I remember being turned off by that because I'm just like, nah. If you know I'm not done, you know I'm not good, the attitude should be like, okay, what do we need to do to make sure that she's good? Especially if it's the first time. You should be working on re-entry. You should be like, I want re-entry, so let me make sure she's good. At least that's how I think. I don't know, I'm spoiled. Okay. Anyway, so the second part of this episode, we will do the live stream. So once again, thanks for listening to this episode of MILF Ministry Podcast. It was dedicated to body image and the correlation between body image and your pleasure. And really just simply getting out of your own way. I didn't feel like I needed to go down any long roads of what that meant or what it looked like. It literally means just being comfortable in your own skin. You have the body you have, whether you have stretch marks or, you've gained weight or whatever's going on with you, you have the body that you have and you have to get comfortable with the body that you have so that you can focus on your own pleasure, so that the conversation shifts and the interaction with your partner shifts to that of you being focused on your own pleasure. As we said before, MILF Ministry merch is now available on the website, and we're now available on iTunes. So thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed the discussion about body image, please feel free to share this episode with your family and your friends. Once again, you can join the discussion by following @MILF Ministry on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.